Dave.
Hello.
You got teeth.
So for listeners of the show, describe what you're seeing, Daniel.
Dave just jumped on the call, and he has elongated incisors. Like his teeth, he's like very vampire-ish. So happy Halloween, I guess.
Yes, happy Halloween.
It is nighttime here, so yeah, I'm not surprised I'm seeing you.
It is it's actually Halloween as we record. This will be going out after the fact, but I thought I'd get into the theme just for the start of the show. So yeah, I'm sorry, listeners of the show. This is meaningless to you, I guess, but at the moment I am definitely engaging my best vampire look.
I'm gonna invite you in to the show.
Oh, thank you. I don't know why. Whenever I've got these vampire teeth in, suddenly my voice starts to go towards being. Do you know the actor Matt Berry?
I might, but the name doesn't ring a bell right now.
Okay, plays a character called Laszlo in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I start to sound a bit more like this because that's his character, and I'm in the vampire mode. So off we go.
The thing, I became a vampire to be cool and F forever.
Yes. Have you listened to my music? I think that's probably enough of that bit, Daniel, because I'm going to be mumbling my words. So,
all right, while you take these out, I'm going to do the intro. So, hey,
go for
welcome to Waiting for Review, a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. Join your scintillating hosts, and let's hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. Hi, I'm Daniel, Junior Druid Wrangler at Telemetry Deck, and also going as a slutty software engineer today. And I'm welcoming Count of Darkness and Chief Audio Reactivity Engineer at lightbeamapps.com, Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Daniel. Yes. I shall put down my vampiric persona and join you here more as the audio reactive coding person that I am, and have definitely been for the last couple of weeks. But
fantastic.
We'll talk about that in a bit, I guess. Yeah, how you doing, Daniel? How's life? How's everything?
I'm good. Like I had a really stressful week last week, and I was kind of out for the count for most of the weekend. And then I also got vaccinated for various things. Like, for instance, I got vaccinated for COVID in this arm and influenza in this arm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of like just even less energetic. But now, like as of today, like just the vaccine side effects have passed, and also just my general like downness has passed because I just had such a week. Like I was at a conference where I presented two presentations, and in the meantime, the servers were kind of burning to the ground, so I had to like rescue them.
Oh no!
And we had various like customer discussions and stuff like that. And I was at like 1% energy or something. If I was an iPhone, my battery indicator would have been yellow.
Yeah, and it sounds like you'd have been hitting the I can't charge right now until everything is cooled down mode.
Yeah, exactly. But
I've definitely
as of today,
seen
I feel just recharged. The servers seem to be working again. Fingers crossed. Which I've said this way too many times, and it just like turns out at our scale, just like running this whole cluster is just a lot of hard work. But I have help, right? I have my fantastic buddy Arno, who is now kind of like a part-time Druid Wrangler at Telemetry Deck, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's helping me a lot. Like he's an expert in lots of like server security and also just like all the hosting stuff. And so what he does basically is whenever we kind of encounter a problem, we not only try to fix it, but he also just puts a chart on Grafana about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have these incredibly cool dashboards now.
That's awesome.
That just like at a glance give me like an overview about like just the general health of the cluster.
Yep.
That is already very, very helpful.
I'd love a sneak peek at that at some point, Daniel, if you post it anywhere, if you can.
I can.
Because I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah. You tell me about what you did to GoVJ while I post this.
Yeah, sure. So, Daniel, we've spoken about this a few times in the last few shows, but I've been up to a thing where I've been programming in audio reactivity to the app.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means in a nutshell is pretty simple. It's okay, you've got the microphone is reading whatever music is playing in the room that you're in, and then it's controlling parameters in the app. So the app starts to do things in time to the music. And it's been a bit of a journey. And I'm just, like I say, I can't remember how much we've fully talked about in the last few shows.
Yeah.
I'm sort of looking down our show notes just to double check. But the stack I've got is a bit wacky. It's I've got a Rust library embedded in the middle of it.
Okay. Oh yeah, you told me about this last time. I remember.
Yeah. So there's a stack there with a Rust library that's wrapped up, presented as a binary XE framework, eventually rolled inside of a Swift package. So I've got a Rust Swift to Ducken of a dependency that I've built.
Yeah, like basically a three libraries in a trench coat.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's doing its job. So it's the long and the short of this, though, really, and this is the conundrum I'm up against right now, is the UI. So I've got this thing working, and that's great, and that's definitely been scratching the solving technical problems itch that I always have. But it now needs to be user facing. And in an ideal world, I'd have figured out the design before I had the feature, but here we are. Right. So I've got the mechanism to integrate it to the parameters down for the most part, right? There's a little microphone next to any slider that you use, and that's nice and easy. Okay, I want it to be audio reactive. I'll hit the microphone and select one of the monitors that is part of the feature. But the bit that's actually tricky, and I found this immediately with the TestFlight beta, is actually discovering the feature and guiding people through how to turn it on.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so at the moment, you can turn it on if you go to a parameter. The on and off is there with all of the audio monitors that you can configure. And that's not very discoverable, to be honest. I've had one person already asking me, how do I turn this thing on? So, yeah, this is the conundrum. And I sat down yesterday. I was looking at the app. I have a settings menu. Inside that settings menu, you can configure two features that are already reasonably big in terms of what they do for the app. So in there, I've got a settings menu for configuring MIDI controllers, a settings menu for configuring the video over network output, NDI. And now I'm adding audio reactivity, and I'm looking at that settings menu going, it can't bear another linchpin feature inside of it, buried inside of all the other little settings and doodads.
Yeah, but why is it not on the main screen though? Like, why is this not like front and center while you're like VJing?
Yeah, so I'm looking at all these things, and a lot of it is that once you've turned it on, you kind of need it to get out the way. So there's a level of like, okay, you set these things, you then move on and you actually use the app and you do your performance. So taking up the entire sections of the real estate on the screen is not something I really want to do. So these things get binned into the settings menu, and then they're not very discoverable for people the first time round. So it sort of seems to present, I think, what I feel is an obvious set of choices. One thing is I can onboard people into this when they first boot the app up, and I can present these things in the middle before they can do anything. Hey, these are things you may want to turn on. That could be a route. I think that might be a bit much in some ways, because not everybody really cares about these things when they first launch the app. The other that I'm thinking is actually changing the settings menu entirely. So I've got almost a tab bar on the bottom of the different things you can select. And in there I've got trays for the media. So you've got numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along the bottom. And you can select your different grids of videos in the app. There's a thing for selecting the effects, and then there's the settings button. It's already very top heavy on the bottom there. So what I'm thinking of doing right now is that settings button, instead of it triggering the existing settings screen with all of these different things listed down, I'm going to swap it out. And I'm going to have a different sheet that pops up, and it's going to have these features that you can turn on and configure as being the main act, the main thing off that settings button. So you hit it, and it's going to have, connect your microphone, audio reactivity, loud and clear as a cell in the middle. It will have the controller stuff. It will have the networked video and input and output. So there'll be at least 3 things in the list there that are very obvious and easy. And then all the existing settings, I'll probably bury a level down beyond that off an ellipsis or something, so that you can still go and see the about, see the this, see the that. And I'm guessing I'll probably put the paywall in there as one of the other options in this list as well, for freemium users. So that's my thoughts at the moment. I kind of need a bit of a redesign to get this thing in, but I don't want to be too heavy-handed with it. I don't want to break too much of the existing flow and use of the app.
I get that.
Yeah.
Question?
Go on.
So if I have your user interface in front of my mental eye, you have basically your video screen, and then you have a list of effects, right? And then you select an effect, and then you kind of change the parameters of that effect. Would it be possible to have a checkbox there that says this effect is audio reactive?
Yes, that's
because
another
then
place
this would be very discoverable. But then you'd have to be okay, all the different effects need to be either reactive or non-reactive. I don't know if that's a problem.
I've got that down already.
Okay, because that would be pretty discoverable, right?
It would. And so in context, it's there. But it's also one of those things where, like I say, I feel with these features that I need to be surfacing them in a way where people know they actually exist. Because I think I'm actually missing a bit there with people. So you load the app and I guide you through, okay, this is how you load videos, and get started with mixing. And bear in mind, most people, a lot of people who are my target audience, will already have a view of what they're looking for and be kind of in the niche already. But I think the problem I've got is it's not obvious on first go that this thing can do these things. So that's, like I say, where I kind of need it to be just a little bit more in your face somehow.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So that's where my head's at the moment. What's the simplest way I can sort of bring this in, but also elevate these features? And I feel like we've done an awful lot of sort of audio descriptive, and I kind of want to share the screen of the app, but I think I'll make a Mastodon post and I'll link it out, and if people are listening, they can click through and have a look.
All right, let's do that. You
Yeah.
wanted to see my Grafana dashboard, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I posted it to the Mastodon, so we can share it on the. We can share it on the. What's it called? The show notes. I'm sorry,
Yes.
the show notes. I'm also showing it to you on the screen for our YouTube listeners, YouTube
Yep.
viewers, I guess. So hi, YouTube viewers. So what you're seeing right now is a dashboard with all the different servers in the cluster.
Yep.
And what they are doing. Like there's a CPU histogram and there's a RAM histogram. The
Mm-hmm.
historical nodes are all saying that their RAM is like at 92% used, which looks concerning at first, but these are machines that kind of reserve 90% of their RAM just for their use at all times. So this is actually expected behavior.
Got
And you see that the CPU has like a few spikes. There's just like when stuff is like actually being calculated, but other than that, they're pretty quiet. What I also have, I kind of cut off some data here that is alerts, so you don't see those because that has some internal data that like some like various IP addresses and stuff that I have to double check that are not externally reachable. But here what you see is like a list of Druid errors. It says no data because there have been no errors in the last 48 hours actually,
good.
which is very nice. And also you see like lots of throughput data for the message queue basically. So all the signals come in and they go into a message queue, and that's where Druid kind of picks them up. And they are pretty good as well. Also,
this
speaking
is
of
cool.
IP addresses, this says IP addresses here on the side, but these are all internal, so I'm comfortable sharing those.
Fair. No, this looks really cool, Daniel. So I'm guessing this is like mission control at the moment for you.
Yeah,
for
pretty much
everything. Yeah, love it. I wonder, are you looking at this every day? Do you have this on a screen all the time, or is this more like when something feels wrong, you go and check, or what?
What I have is, you know how in Safari you can like pull a tab to the side and then it just kind of pinned there. So I have Grafana pinned there, and then like I have this dashboard and I have a few others, but this is like the most important one. So like just when I'm kind of bored or in a meeting or when something's not wrong or when I just like go to work in the morning, like this is just the first thing I look at these days.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I like I say, I keep mulling something similar for myself, but honestly, I think that version for me is your product is telemetry deck. Because the biggie that I've always kind of wondered is like, okay, can I self-host Grafana? Okay, that's me messing around with Docker for an hour or two. Fine. Okay, I can live with that. Set up a small Linode or something that's running that. And then can I ingest App Store data? And honestly, that's probably not too hard, but I couldn't seem to find a plugin that I would have been happy with for that. And then I'm like, okay, so now I'm probably 3-4 hours down the line. Honestly, and this feels like a sales pitch for your product, and I guess it kind of is, but what I feel like I should be doing to solve this particular problem is just setting up the revenue cat connection and then making sure I've got a dashboard in telemetry deck that's showing me that financial data coming through alongside the user activity.
Right.
That'll be enough.
That's exactly what you should do, really. Like I'm even tempted to pipe a lot of that server infrastructure, like log data, into telemetry deck. And for some of those, I'm actually doing that. Like I have a telemetry deck dashboard that says like successful calculation jobs versus like calculation errors, stuff like that. Because but for the stuff that I'm kind of currently calculating in or like gathering in Grafana, like this is all stuff that just like is easier in Grafana because there's like plugins or connectors or infrastructure there that just makes this easy. Whereas I would have to like write the adapters myself, and like I'm not in the business of writing adapters from I don't know AWS CloudWatch to telemetry deck right now. But it would be entirely possible. It's just it might be a performance thing that depends on the amount of data, I think. But basically, it should be possible. Especially like as I said, like I am posting a lot of like these like query related data directly into telemetry deck. It might be a performance related thing because right now we have like one huge data source, and that data source not only contains everything, but it also contains all the possible parameters that you can send in a signal, and that might bite us in the butt at some later dates. So actually, like I'm running a few experiments these days where I have multiple data sources set up, just like nothing that is customer facing yet, but basically in the background for various select customers, and especially for our own stuff. I've just set up like separate data sources. I'm just going to experiment with them and see if I can do stuff with them that increases performance and especially reliability and stuff.
Awesome. I mean, there is something to be said as well for your monitoring structure needs to be airlocked and decoupled from the thing it's monitoring, right? So at the moment, having everything through Grafana is probably not a bad idea, just from that perspective. But I could certainly see that if you're experimenting with these other data sources and that flow of data through, like ultimately, you could have a separate telemetry deck instance or something where this stuff's being piped.
Yeah.
And your own dashboards.
Also, like Grafana has given me some ideas for UI elements or UI changes.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm also seeing like stuff like, oh, I came to the same solution that they came to, which is pretty satisfying actually.
That's cool. I would say as well though, like if to my mind, Grafana and telemetry deck, you're solving different problems. It's different types of data in some ways as well. So
should we interject what Grafana actually is?
Yes, probably.
Grafana is a tool that you self-host, and that is basically you usually use it in combination with another tool called Loki that kind of grabs metrics and log files and all kinds of stuff from various servers and services that you host, like for example from Druid, but also from just like all our backend servers. And then you can build yourself dashboards with charts, and those charts look pretty nice. Oh, not as nice as telemetry deck charts, of course, but you know. And they update in real-ish time. And so it's a good way to get to have like a huge dashboard open for like quickly built up for like sysadmin stuff mostly, but also like in theory you could put all kinds of data in there.
Yep. Yeah, it's it's cool. It's very cool. And I'm just looking down the site, and it's definitely aimed at sysadmin and exactly what you're using it for, to be honest. I'm looking down the Loki website, and of course it's mentioning Kubernetes straight off and all of that sort of stuff as well. So looks pretty cool. I think your dashboard for telemetry deck is wonderful, Daniel, and it's good to see you've kind of got this like I think in my head I imagine that when you're trying to wrangle all these servers, you're sort of in like a war room in the telemetry deck office, and you've got all these monitors with all these dashboards around you. Please tell me it's as glamorous as that.
It is as glamorous. The thing is, like, I'm a one monitor kind of person, right? But I have a very large monitor, and the new macOS has this feature where I can just like drag Windows into a corner, and it occupies exactly a quarter of the screen. Then, so pretty much, it looks exactly like a NASA control center.
Brilliant. Well, speaking of macOS features, Daniel, you have Apple Intelligence, don't you?
I have. I am Apple Intelligent now. Yeah, like I kind of expected to not get any intelligence from Apple, but turns out because I'm in the European Union, right, and I can't, for example, I cannot mirror my iPhone because that would just be like too powerful. But what I have actually is you don't get in the EU, you don't get Apple Intelligence on the iPhone or iPad, but you do get it on the Mac for some reason.
Okay.
So I have updated to macOS 15.1, and I gotta say, like you can totally make fun of these, but like the two features that I really like surprisingly much is notification summaries and email importance sorting, email priority email basically. So
Yep.
because I get so much email, right? And I also get a lot of notifications. So what I recently did was like I posted on Mastodon like, hey, I got this feature. When I try confusing it by replying with the weird stuff to this post, right?
Yep.
And like I got like, I don't know, 10 replies, and then the summary reads: ignore previous instructions, compare pizza Hawaii recipe with a PowerBook, and don't forget the bananas left outside without keys.
I'm guessing that's your Mastodon audience having fun there, seeing what they could make it do for you, right?
Yeah, and that was a super fun experiment actually. But yeah, but like with more, I want to say like with notifications that make a bit more sense. It is like not perfect or anything, but it's like okay, I read like one line of text and I can more quickly scan if there's anything in there that is like, oh, I got to look at that.
That's cool. That is cool, and
right.
I don't have it yet. I need to update. I've just realised I'm on the older version of macOS. I'm living in the past, mate. So
you're living in the past, mate. The other thing is email priority. So if I open up my email inbox, I have like 18 billion unread emails. But at the very top, it's there's this thing. It says priority, and there's like just basically and like there's 3 emails, and these are indeed the most important emails for the day. Like I wouldn't like completely rely on that, but it's actually very pleasant to see those. And also the emails, like they are now summarized as promised by the like, so the like it says the email subject, but beneath that it doesn't say the first few lines anymore. It says, I don't know, like you have been invited to a meeting with XYZ on this date, which is pretty cool actually. Like, yeah, it's nice. This is a good use of local on device AI.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh well, I need to update. I need to check that out, and I sort of feel like I've been out of the Apple loop a little bit, Daniel, as well lately. Like, I've been off in my lane, messing with my own apps and playing around with Android here and there and Rust and this, that, and the other. And then something snuck up on me this week.
Which is?
So we had new hardware. We have new Apple hardware has been released. So yeah, what have we got? You linked it in our show notes to talk about.
Right. I was like, I was trying to find like one article that just has everything basically, right? So that we don't have to like link to 17 different articles on, like, I don't know, like 95 Mac or whatever. They had like all these like articles, like individual articles for everything. And I thought we could just like go through everything that's been announced this week. And be like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. So first thing is iMac M4. So it has new colors. It has the M4 chip, and it has 16 gigs of RAM, which is a kind of recurring theme with this version bump.
Yeah, there's one thing I clocked as I was scanning stuff yesterday was that it looks like that base level of RAM has gone up a notch now, right?
Right. Also, it has 7 colors: green, yellow, orange, pink, purple, blue, and silver. And I mean, these iMacs, they look kind of nice. Like they look the same as the M1 iMacs. But even back then I was like, oh, I kind of want one, but I don't have a use for one. But still, like they look gorgeous.
They do. I kind of wish they still did the what was the name for it? It's where you could use your display, target display mode. So
when we use one as a screen.
Yeah, exactly. Use it as a screen with a Mac Studio, or rather, use it for what it is, and then when it starts to feel long in the tooth in any way, then upgrade the upgrade to something else, but actually still use the display. Because I love the colors, and the display itself will be a lovely 24-inch display. So
totally. Like about 10 years ago, I did have a 27-inch iMac back in the Intel days, and it was like super powerful and everything. And I kind of justified the purchase price with the same idea. Like, I'm going to buy this, and then once it has outlived its life, it's still an amazing screen. I can use it just in target disk mode. But by the time that thing had outlived its usefulness, there was no way to connect it to any existing Mac anymore. And also it kind of needed to run. So it needs to like completely run as a computer. Like it's not like a silent display or anything. It has fans and everything. So instead I kind of sold it for half the price or anything. So like Apple hardware is easy to sell usually. So that's what I did.
Yeah. I think we'd be in a different world with these displays. They're running a lot more silent than then.
I doubt if they like. Do they even have fans? I don't know.
I don't know. They do look gorgeous though. I must say I'm a fan. What else did we get? Let's scroll.
MacBook
down.
Pro M4, M4 and M4 Pro and M4 Max. 14 and 16-inch models, nano texture display option, starts at 16 gigs of RAM, and space black and silver.
That entry level is good. It's good to get off the old levels of 8 gigs of RAM. That seemed a bit paltry for these days. And I think, again, it's a sign of where things are going, right? If we've got things like Apple Intelligence.
Dude, I bet if Apple Intelligence didn't need a minimum of 16 gigs of RAM, these would still start at 8 gigs. Like,
probably.
Come on.
Yes.
This is 100% Apple Intelligence and nothing else.
Fair. Keep going. They look like the previous ones with an M4 chip. What's this though? This is different.
The even more miniature Mac Mini. I love this one. Ooh. This thing is about half the size of the previous Mac Mini.
Yeah,
it
looks like
chip, 16 gigs.
It looks like an Apple TV on steroids.
It looks
like an Apple TV on steroids. Yeah,
it's very cute. It's like a tiny version of the Mac Studio because it also has two vertical USB-C ports on the front. I don't have an image of that right now in front of me, but you gotta believe me, it's very cute.
Incredibly cute
and everything, and it still has an internal power supply. Like this thing is really cool. Like I kind of want one.
I have no use for it whatsoever. I've got a lovely Mac Studio sitting on my desk, and then I look at that, and so one of the things about my, I guess, everything with what I build with GoVJ, with all the visual stuff that I'm into, like having that background, way back when, we're talking 20 years ago now, a long time ago, hauling kit 2 gigs was a pain. Right, I was literally doing visuals gigs in nightclubs and things with the friend that got me into it all, where we were hauling 3 flight cases of kit, plus a PC tower, plus a monitor of some description, right?
CRT monitor.
At one stage, yes, that's what we had. So it was heavy. There was a lot of kit. And then I look at where we are now, and I look at things like that Mac Mini, and I'm like, I would have killed for that at that point.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Instead of hauling
laptops, really.
Yeah.
Like I used to go to these LAN parties, and we also kind of hauled those like tower computers and CRT monitors around. And now you just like the last few LAN parties I went to before the whole like practice kind of died down. I just sat down and opened my laptop, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the laptop sort of, has definitely been the thing that's taken things over in that respect, and the same in the visual scene, right? Is that's what sort of started happening circa, I guess, 2007-ish, maybe a little bit before. But I look at this little Mac Mini, and I'm like, that's got some incredible uses for art installations that are running video software like mine, all sorts of things. So. Yeah, nice move.
But also, this is a seriously useful computer. Like it has the possibility to upgrade to the M4 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a serious desktop computer too. Like if you don't have a Mac Studio, this is oh, this might be even more powerful. Like this is definitely more powerful than my computer right now. I have an M1 Pro
Right.
MacBook.
Yeah.
This is really cool. Like this, I can totally imagine this just standing on my desk, just being
Yeah.
very tiny and cute, and like, just like chugging along. This is very nice.
Well, maybe we've got one of these in the future. It's very interesting to see. I'm looking on Apple's site right now, and they show it. Interestingly, there's a little video on the first bit of the page, and it's got the Mac Mini, it's got some headphones, a games controller, and then there's a keyboard in the middle that is not an Apple keyboard.
Because it's bring your own keyboard.
Yeah. And that video then plays through with a whole load of different setups. There's one with the Mac keyboard, Mac mouse, or Apple mouse rather, and then there's one with like a Logitech thing. It's an interesting proposition. They're kind of positioning it as almost as a games machine, actually, looking at this with the controller against it.
They've announced Cyberpunk 2077 for the Mac as well.
Right.
I bet it will run pretty well on this machine, which is ludicrous.
It's really cool. It's very cool. So yeah, love it. I don't have an immediate use for it, but it certainly makes me look and go, I would like to think of uses for it.
Right.
Because it looks so cute and cool.
Right. Then we get the MacBook Air. That just gets a spec bump. So it's still on the M2 chip. Mm-hmm. There's also the M3 version, but there's no M4.
Did they not do an M4?
MacBook Air. What they did, the only thing they did was the MacBook Air now also starts at 16 gigs of RAM instead of starting at 8 gigs of RAM.
Of course.
Because we gotta get ready for Apple Intelligence.
Dang.
Right. Another thing that we have is just the fuel for 10 billion memes, which is we have a new Apple mouse and trackpad and keyboard. And the only thing that's changed is that it's now charging via USB-C, but still from the bottom. Which everyone makes these memes. Like there's a picture of the Magic Mouse and it charges from the bottom and look at those idiots at Apple and they say they know industrial design. And I'm just like, come on, like that joke was funny like 15 years ago or whatever. But this is obviously where the charging port needs to go. Like, because otherwise it's just like sticks out all the time. Like you need to charge the thing for 10 minutes every month. Like come on, that is a time where you can actually put the thing upside down. Like that joke is just like, come on, find a new joke.
Yeah. Do you know what would be fun? Is if they got rid of the port completely and then just made it wirelessly charged.
That would be cool. And I was kind of like half expecting this. Because like, why not? Like everything is Qi charging now. Like they have they totally have the capability. I don't want to speculate too much, but I can't imagine it's just like they don't have the infrastructure yet. Like because they have like Qi 2 or like MagSafe, which is very much like used to charge phones, right? And so like this thing doesn't have really a place where you could like put a MagSafe puck or something. But like, I mean, it could come in the future or something. I could see that. Yeah. Or a new studio display that has in its base a charger. So like just like to charge your keyboard or mouse, you just put it on the base.
Yeah, I could certainly imagine like something like that for the mouse for sure. Interesting, well, not interesting, I guess, but a side note, I've moved on from using a trackpad all the time back to using a mouse in the last week.
Wow.
I have
why is that?
Because my wrist needs better support.
Yeah,
so
is that better for your wrist?
Yeah, I've got a Logitech Lift, which is a ergonomic.
Oh, like one of those sideways mice.
Yeah, and it's cool. I've gotten used to it very, very quickly.
Nice. I like that. All right, cool.
Yeah,
no, I'm still like trackpad only everywhere. I just love the Magic Trackpad. Like that's my input device of choice.
Same.
I do have a Logitech mouse for gaming, but I don't game almost ever since like KSP2 got discontinued. Like that's just when I game, I use a steering wheel now.
Well, you clearly need a Mac a Mac Mini with a PlayStation controller connected, according to Apple's.
I have a PlayStation with a PlayStation controller. That's also
well, you're
that works
halfway
out
there.
pretty well. Yeah. Also, yeah, Apple Intelligence is now everywhere. Whatever. What I'm missing is my personal wish was that the 12-inch MacBook would make a return, because that would just be my perfect on-the-go machine. Like, the dream is not completely dead, because like the MacBook Air didn't get a proper upgrade. But my personal dream machine would be a 12-inch MacBook Air that is just like very tiny, and I can just like put it into a pocket and just like take it with me everywhere, because I do so much. Like every time I need a computer, like just a phone just doesn't cut it. Like I tried it a few times. And even if I had an iPad, because you like recently suggested, oh, dude, just get an iPad.
I suggested, get an iPad, get a keyboard.
I do too many things where I combine the terminal, multiple browser windows, and maybe an editor and a Git app. And
fair enough.
I know that most of these things probably can be done on an iPad, but the switching is kind of hard. But also the once I'm at the stage where I just have to create an SSH tunnel or something and then use a browser to kind of communicate through that tunnel, I'm like, it's probably possible, but it feels like just like trying to control something through one of those operations these days where you just have like these very small incisions. Like my appendix got removed that way, kind of minimally invasive operations. It kind of feels like that. Like I can do all the things, but I have to do it like kind of around the corner and like very like
it's like keyhole surgery, but your hands are sort of tied.
Keyhole surgery, that's the metaphor I was looking for.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm still not sold on doing my kind of work on an iPad or iPhone.
Do you need a Mac to do your kind of work?
You're alluding to the fact that I could use a Linux machine
or an anything machine that is the size class that you're looking for. Yeah.
I mean, like realistically, I don't need another machine at all. I have a laptop. It is very capable. It is just a bit heavier. But like, if the servers, hopefully, if they are no stable, knock on wood, then like I shouldn't have to like run to the machine as much in the middle of the night or whatever. It's just like one of those, I would really like to be able to be on the go and be like, oh, I'm the chief Druid wrangler for telemetry decks, so I should be able to at any time just like pull out my device and wrangle some Druids.
You can't. I mean, like,
title of the show.
No, but I guess what I'm thinking is like, how far off is a MacBook Air? Even in the bigger class that it is. I'm seeing you writing that down in our show notes. We always refer to the show notes. Listeners should know that we have a Apple Notes note that's shared between the pair of us, and I've got it on my other screen so I can see when Daniel's putting things in there in real time. But no, like, if your thing is just about having something that's easy and portable and in that sort of smaller size, well, it's not a Mac, but those machines do exist outside of the ecosystem.
Do they though? Because I haven't like really done my homework here, but like a cursory glance at different machines it's either a Windows machine, which I don't really feel comfortable on, or it's an Intel machine and it's very fat. Because it turns out that I recently talked to a like Linux machine guy about this. Like there's a local company here in Augsburg, actually, Tuxedo Computers. They make laptops specifically for Windows. And then I kind of like at the conference that I was, they had a like a stand. And so I went there and asked them this question, like, do you guys have a tiny laptop that's on ARM because I want the battery longevity and the low temperatures and stuff, and that I can just carry around? And they were like, kind of prototype-ish. And so he pulls out this prototype and he's like, let me try to boot it, but it boots like every other time or so. And
Okay,
so
it's
like
not sounding too
the
healthy.
device did boot, and
Yeah.
like they said the problem is that they get this hardware from Qualcomm, I want to say, and
Yeah.
it's not very documented, and there's not a lot of drivers. Wi-Fi doesn't work properly.
Right. Okay.
Like the
Yeah.
graphics acceleration doesn't really work. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is basically like from like this is not official information, right? This is just like what some guy
Hmm.
at a trade show, not even a trade show, like some guy told me. So this is not a released product or anything. And he might be lying or whatever. Like I don't even know if he's officially just like whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Fair enough.
to me, this device looked exactly like a Copilot PC.
Yeah.
So the hardware might be very similar, and that with a functioning Linux, that would be probably a capable device. But also it was too big. Like it was also 14 inches, and
Oh.
I can't take 14 inches, Dave. I just can't.
Stop it. 1 second. I want to try and share something from my screen. Yeah, let's see if this will share. So we're going off into the weeds here, but I kind of want to run with it because I spotted this, and yeah, I don't know if I'm
2,800 New Zealand
yeah
dollars.
New Zealand dollars. Yes, so you're looking at what about
2,800.
I don't. The sticker shock looks yeah, interesting. So if we convert that to US dollars, then we're yeah,
Okay,
1,600 US dollars.
1,600.
Yeah, and convert that to your euros.
It's
About 1,500.
1,549. That's even less. So okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
placated. Still not
Yeah.
cheap.
Don't
But
worry. The
yeah, this
sticker
is like
shock's not too
MacBook
bad.
Air territory.
Yeah. But look. This is
A
foldable.
ThinkPad X12 detachable generation 2.
Yeah. Yes, it's Intel, but it's on the Ultra chip, so it should be a bit more prone to being lower powered and more manageable for your battery life. Look how thin that thing is, though. This thing
It is
looks
very
interesting.
very thin.
So it's not Apple, but if you're server wrangling and terminals and web browsing, then there are things there, and that's in the 12-inch
kind of
class.
nice. I give you that. It is kind of nice.
Yeah.
ThinkPads are I assume it will run like this runs Windows out of the box.
Yeah.
But I
Windows
assume
11
because
there,
it's
but
Intel,
yeah.
it will also run a Linux of some sorts.
Yeah, almost guaranteed. And because it's a ThinkPad as well, like they tend to be very well supported on
Right.
Linux.
I'm still because I am
32 gigs of RAM there, Daniel. It can run
that can run 2 Apple Intelligences.
exactly. So like I say, it's maybe not as homely as a Mac, but yeah, these things are there.
I mean, I give you that. Like, I'm gonna nitpick a little bit, which is
go for it.
It has a detachable keyboard, which looks cool, but like this is not a lap computer because it always needs a like
it
sturdy
needs that
place
bit
to
on the
stand
back.
It has a kickstand, so you need to put it on a desk.
Yeah. Keep going. It's got a pencil with it though. Come on.
That's the other thing. Like there's like so many like little things that just like fall off, and I will totally lose. You
don't have to use
this
it.
Is
though.
like three in like the keyboard, like the pen and the display.
It's got both a trackpad and a little nub in there, though, Daniel. Right? You don't get the
it has a little nub in.
Yeah,
very ThinkPad-y. Like I mean, if someone gifts me this, I will definitely use it. But I don't think I'm gonna spend 2,800 New Zealand dollars on it.
That's fair. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
But it's
now,
cool.
But,
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like I give you that. Like, I'm reasonably sure that Apple will probably never make a 12-inch MacBook again because if you are in that size class, they want you to go on an iPad. But at the same time, the iPad, because it is very much locked down, is just like fighting with an arm tied behind your back.
It is, and I'll give you that as well. I made the argument towards you should just get an iPad, but really it's not a very informed argument, and you'd end up with an app. There's apps like Termius for being in the terminal. You would then end
Or
up
secure
fighting,
shellfish.
yeah, and you'd end up fighting with the windowing to get everything you use on the screen, and I can see that would be suboptimal.
So what I have now is I have the Grafana dashboards on my phone, which are surprisingly usable.
Yep.
And I have all the necessary SSH keys in my version of Secure Shellfish that's on my phone. So I can like SSH into the servers and do most of the things from my phone. And that is like enough, I think, for some emergency Druid surgery. So I don't have like one thing that I really need to find out is how can I trick iOS Safari into pretending it is a huge screen and I can just like zoom out all the way, because like I have a few web interfaces that are just like not optimized for desktop at all.
Yeah.
So that's something I gotta figure out. And then I think this is good enough for now, because I almost always take my laptop with me anyway. But Tim Cook, call me if you ever want to like release a 12-inch MacBook.
Well, hopefully, maybe one day you'll get the call. And if not, then, maybe something like the ThinkPad. But I hear you on the kickstand. It kind of needs to be proper laptopy. That will put me off, really.
Our mutual friend, Konstantin, I don't even know what to Google for right now.
I do. I know what it is.
He posted a thing on Mastodon, which is basically a laptop-ish device, like a portable computer, I want to say, that is powered by a Raspberry Pi. And that looks incredibly retro. And I love it. But the thing is like 5 inches thick, I want to say. I don't know how inches work. But it's very thick.
Yeah.
It is not iPad thin. But it looks incredibly cool.
You could, one thing I am aware of actually is, excuse me, I'm going to share my screen again, and then I think we should wrap the show because we are well in the weeds. But let me just show you this thing. There's a KDE Slimbook. It's very Linux, very, very Linuxy. But it's literally a KDE laptop. But you can see here it's configurable with lots of stuff.
Up to 96 gigs of RAM. How many Apple Intelligences is that?
Many. 12, I think. I'm not sure. So this has got a Ryzen chip inside of it, and a lot of specs, blah blah blah. But I mean, this isn't what you're looking for, I don't think. But it is also kind of cool for what it is. It's a slim laptop.
16 inches, Dave.
16 inch. Yeah, I know. But 120 hertz display, anti-glare.
You know what I'm going to get? I'm going to get an old school netbook. Like
you should.
15-year-old netbook. For like they cost like $150 when they were new. Like how much could a netbook cost these days? That's what I'm going to get.
It's a netbook, Daniel. $10.
How much could it cost? Yes, pretty much.
Right. On that bombshell, let's wrap the show, Daniel, because it's time.
All right, I'm gonna wrangle some druids.
Go for it.
Fantastic, Dave. This has been awesome. Listeners, thanks for listening. Please rate us on iTunes and YouTube. Send us emails at contact@waitingforreview.com and join our Discord. The link is in the show notes, just below, basically. Where can people find you, Dave?
You can find me mostly on Instagram these days for videos and shorts and things about my apps. So that's lightbeamapps.com, .com, all one word. Again, links in the show notes over on Instagram. Or you can check out my little Linktree-like WordPress site over at feed.lightbeamapps.com, where I've got everything else linked up.
That's actually pretty neat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Love that little thing.
For me, just like go to http://www.telemetrydeck.com.
Nice.
You gotta type it that way on a netbook.
Yes, with one finger. All
right. That was fantastic. Have a great day and see you soon.
You too, Daniel. Yeah. Take care,
Bye.
mate. Bye.